Welcome back.
So look, I was actually watching that video that's in our intro today, and I was just like, wow, look how far we've come, and the stuff we were talking about and stuff like that. We were talking about the Will Smith slap in that video.
Ironically, because I brought that up today when I was comparing him to Chris. But anyway.
Oh Lord. So look, welcome everybody. Welcome. Y'all know, it's time for the sisters to chat on Thursday Night Live. We have some great topics. We always get into Ready to Love. So that's going to be something we're going to talk about. But first, welcome, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and all of that. We're waiting for my hair to lock. That's what we're over here doing. Anyway. Anyway, I just felt like I needed to share that. But anyway, how was your, I always got to start off with how was your week? What's going on? You look chipper over there.
It's a long road over here, but we're almost moved. So at my job, we're moving offices. Nice. And I'm the person who's like heading the project.
I don't feel sorry for you at all.
Everything's coming together.
I know you got like a big ass spreadsheet, don't you?
I'm just like, no, I actually took the very simple approach this time. It's only two of us who are really working this majorly. What? We're basically downsizing offices, right? But we wanted to make it really cool. Mm-hmm. And like our organization loves to do all this little like fun, camp stuff. Like as far as like, cartoons and movies, like we have our own little quirky personality, and we're trying to make the space really fun. And I think we did it, but it's just so much stress when you're moving. Think about how much stress it is when you're moving yourself.
When you're moving personally, yeah.
Listen, but it's like there's so much.
We moved in my job like 2 years ago, right? And like it's a lot of us, right? We had to go from one side of town to the other. I'm so thankful, and I thank God every day that I wasn't involved in that part of it. Because my coworker was, and she was stressed the hell out. And I was just like, I don't have time to be looking at no seating charts to see when this is supposed to be here, there, and everything, ended up happening. But it was during the time where it was a bunch of backlog for like deliveries, and we were getting like new furniture. So that was it was crazy. So I don't envy you on that, but I do appreciate the fact that you have a job where y'all get to really use your personal creativity for stuff, like that little skit that y'all did for the meeting, which is just a regular meeting showing people slides and stuff like that, or giving them some information. But it was so engaging that I know they paid attention to it the whole time.
They loved it. We got to do another one in October.
That's what's up. That's what's up. You should feel like that at work. That's what's up.
It was one of our coworkers came to us after. She was like, "Oh my God!" She was like, "What did she say?" She was like, "You guys made that so fun." She was like, "The thought that you put into that was so hilarious." And everybody really was engaged with it because it was fun. Like she was like, just
I'm saying, think about it. I go to several meetings every week, right? I go to several meetings every week. And over my career, I've been to hella meetings, right? Usually it's just some seats, it's the table, it's the people that's going to speak. It might be a PowerPoint on the screen, right?
Right.
And if it is a PowerPoint on the screen, the closest thing you're going to get to humor is like some little, clicky thing that's going to come up and wave or something that's going to relate to somebody they're talking about. But that was totally creative. Like y'all got to be able to, just change the whole thing. That wasn't like I bet you they'll be looking forward to the next meeting is what I'm saying.
They are.
Boring or mundane. It was tight. So I say all that to say, like, a lot of people don't have that aspect
that is
in their job. Like you get to actually, use your
fun with your job. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I say y'all do, and they treat y'all good too. So
they do. I can't deny it. But yeah, that's fine. Anyway, how was your week?
Well, my week was good, but on the productive side, I probably could have done a little more, but I was like mentally stuck on something. And so I was trying to work through that. So I think I figured it out, but it's just like you have something that you want to do, but then it's like figuring out all of the things that it takes to get to it is one thing. But then there's also the whole different paths you can take along the way to figure that out. So that's what, so productively, it wasn't as great as, as I'd hoped. However, I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Blondie, Monique. Hey, Mocha,
Blondie.
but Mocha said she'll be here, but she wasn't here to tell us that we were late, and we were only like a minute late. So
I know, but I was late for that. I was like, oh, Mocha's gonna tell me I'm late because I'm gonna be late.
She had a good live today too. She did like a like a Hot Topics live, and she went through a whole bunch of things over there. So if y'all not subscribed to Mocha Mima Media TV, make sure y'all subscribe. I will add the link in this description below after this live is over. But anyway, on to some of the things.
We got so much to talk about tonight.
I've been laughing all week though. Like I've been just like kind of like, what the hell is happening? On all fronts. Like not even just reality TV. Just like anyway.
There's so much happening. It's like it's hard to like keep your head still. You know what I'm saying? That joke is crazy. Anyway, to your other point, I have something to share with you probably after this. Somebody wants to hear us rant about this, but I've unlocked a new level of productivity.
Oh, Lord.
It's crazy because it just is like you and a piece of paper. It's like so many. I've forgiven myself for the number of times I've written things down. I'm convinced that writing things down is thinking. And everything around us tells us that writing things down is like a waste of your time. But actually, it's a superpower. Like if you just start writing stuff, like words, like action words. Now, that's my thing. I don't think about like the units that have to go through a system. I think about action words like, well, I was writing, or I was reading, or I was cleaning, right? Or I was like, I'm thinking about action words like, what did you do with that time today, right? And so like, but as long as I'm writing down words that are coming to my mind, I'm thinking and I'm imprinting, I'm leaving a record of the things that are obviously the most important things that I want to write down, because you don't want to just be writing everything down. But it's like whatever's on your mind. But I'm convinced that like, I don't know how this happened, but I feel like we're discouraged from writing actual things down on paper these days. I feel like we're so...
I mean, because it's so easy to just type something, but I agree with you. I just want to jump in on some benefits because I am a fan of writing. You know, I have several books that I get from you, but I write a lot of stuff down. And a lot of times, like, I think I said this before too, like when I write a grocery list, I'll be like, all right, let me write this grocery list down or whatever. And when I write it down, even if I forget it at the house, I'll remember, I'll be able to go in my mind and be like, okay, I said this. And 9 times out of 10, I'll get almost everything on the list. And so, but two things that I think that people who don't think that writing is beneficial should pay attention to is that one, it gives you clarity of thought. And because sometimes you can have so many thoughts in your head, the moment you write it down, you get it out. And then you get to go back and reflect. Sometimes I've read stuff that I've written like years before. Like I was cleaning out this box and I was like, dang, I wrote that? I never even went back to read it before then, but it was just like, wow. So it gives you clarity of thought. And then the other benefit that I like, because there's so many others, but the other benefit that I like is, would you just calm down? Is problem solving, okay? Because it makes you think critically. And then you can't, it's not like you have to replay what somebody said in your head. You can actually read what you wrote. So I'm a fan of writing. You know, I really would like my handwriting to be better, but we're here now. So,
but I mean, listen, I actually think of that sometimes to myself, with my own handwriting. I'd be thinking like, whenever I have to write something down, I'd like to think to myself like, every time I have to write something, I'm practicing my handwriting, and I'll do it slowly and deliberately and do it the right way. But then when I look back at my writing, I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is chicken scratch, poppycock. Like,
yeah, what? It's ridiculous because I'll be writing notes for some of the shows. Like I like to write notes for the shows because yes, I watch the show, but when I come and do a video, I want to be able to, you know, hit all the points that really made me have a reaction. And if I don't write it down, then I will, you know, be doing multiple videos on the same thing. So like sometimes I go back and look and I'll be like, what was I trying to say here? But it's funny because I used to have bomb handwriting, and I feel like I still can sometimes, depending on how much time I'm taking to write it. But it's like after bills and stuff like that hit my life, my handwriting slowly declined. You know what I'm saying?
Look, I just need to write this down. I don't care what it is that you, I don't like. Sometimes it's just like I need to write this down.
Yeah, I always gotta write. I mean, even if I don't even know that I'm gonna write, I know that I need to grab a book because I'm gonna want to write. Because even when I'm watching some of these videos of like, you know, the interview videos we watch, or the documentary style videos, or like the mindset videos and things like that. Like sometimes a thought will come out of just something that somebody said. And you'd be like, oh, you know what I mean? Let me write that down.
Yep.
I've had that a lot too. So anyway, I'm just talking about it in general, but I love writing. So, you know, I'm a fan. I understand why some people don't, but I don't understand why some people don't.
Something that we're really overlooking, and I think we have this obsession with like not repeating something, but it's like that's the actual thing that's going to get you to remember it. It's like, how many times have you ever said your ABCs and you remember them, Jane? Sometimes I still have to say them out loud to make sure.
Dude, you have to remember several menus when you were in the serving world. I know you had a few places where you had to know the menu 100%. How did you remember it? By repeating that shit over and over and over again. I remember when I worked at Outback, I had to do that, and we had to know everything on the menu up here. So
verbatim, and we
now
had
you
it.
could go out to eat, and you'd be like, "Well, what are your specials today? Or what kind of beer do you have on tap, or whatever?" And they'd be like, let me go ask somebody." It's like, what were you doing?
Do we have beer here? Do we have beer here?
But nah, that's not what this is about. Look, I don't want to divert us or whatever.
Okay, let's jump right in then, shall we?
What you over there eating?
Oh, sorry. I have a little snack here, guys.
No, I want to know. You know,
I got some nuts, apricots, and some slices of cheese.
Okay.
Well, I can't put that over there because
you know Buttercup will be over there.
She's in there. She'll be right over there, like, oh, thanks for the snack. So I can't put it over there. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
I had to go and find an image because I looked at this first topic. I looked at this and I was like, it was a YouTube video from like a news story, because that's how serious this is, guys. I was so disgusted to see this in the news. Like, okay, so first of all, we're jumping into our topics now.
Mm-hmm.
This right here. New surveillance footage appears to show TSA agents stealing money from passengers as they pass through the airport security. What? Who authorizes? Like, you have to put your bags. And this is so disgusting to me because everybody has to go through TSA. You can't like skip the line. You can't be like, who's not, I don't subscribe to this. Like, you have to go through TSA. But yo, if you got, and that's your stuff. It's so unfortunate that this is happening. It's
that
like,
is crazy.
But
you know what? Listen, it's nothing you can do about it because TSA is everywhere in the airports, right? You got to go through that. But I never thought about that. But I do always check everything as soon as I get it for some odd reason. Well, not for some odd reason, but
for this reason.
That's crazy. I would have never.
And you know what?
I mean, they're pretty much doing it right in front of people's face.
Let me say to this young man right here, or whatever this is happening, you're a dummy. Because they got you right on camera. And I hope that's exactly what happened to him. I hope some person who got their things rifled through looked in their bag and was like, hold up, my $500 is gone, or whatever they stole, and went directly to be like, this was in here when I put it in here, when I put it through the belt, and now it's not in here. Somebody back there got my money. Go look at the footage. I hope that's how this came about, because how dumb are you that you're caught on camera stealing somebody's stuff?
Right, Blondie. That's crazy. Listen, like I said, I just always automatically, I don't know, I wash my stuff anyway, and I just be like, all right, you know what I mean? But I guess if you're one of those people who just walk off, I don't know, but I would have never thought that because like I said, it's not like they're behind closed doors. They're right out in the open. That's ridiculous.
That would even be more hilarious.
And where is that at? That's in Florida?
Miami-Dade. Yep, exactly. That is in Miami-Dade. Now, here's what's funny about this. It would be funny, now that you bring that up, detective, what if you were watching somebody do this to your luggage? What if the person saw him do this? Like, I know he don't think he slipped. I just saw him take my money out of that thing, right? Like, what if this person was standing here watching it? But either way, it doesn't matter, because now you're on camera and we can play it over again, you dummy. What are you doing?
Probably called that person in the office and was like, hey. But that's probably not the first time. That's definitely probably not the first time. So
listen, I hope it was. Okay, I hope that was
well. At any rate, always listen. Whenever you have to let go of something that's yours, always check it as soon as you get your hands back on it, right there on the spot. And I mean, the money is taken, yeah, but like you said, I know some cameras around here, and I just saw it, and and now it's gone. So let's see what's everybody empty their pockets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's probably exactly how that worked. Oh my gosh, I'm just learning about this next story. Listen, guys, I just have to tell you, I'm not a detective. We are not detectives, but we find out some of these things and we're just reacting to them. Like, and we try to educate ourselves on these things. We're like, this young lady, Dana Chanel. Okay, I have other things to say about her, but that's later. Oh, I see Simone is in these comments. This is hilarious. I love to look at the comments. Okay, first
the comments. Listen, everybody. Listen, stop it. Everybody, everything is in the comments. Okay,
comments are giving me life, yo. Sometimes I'll be having like a weird day or a dull day or a drab day, and I'll go and I'll see something online, and I'll be like, "This is crazy," and I'll go to the comments, and people who are like comedians will just be, they're not real comedians, but I mean, like, the comments be crazy hilarious sometimes. I mean, like, this is just what I needed. I came here for these comments.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, comment section. You guys are giving me exactly what I expected. Anyway, that's the sidebar. This young lady, her name, or she goes by Dana Chanel. So let me just say this, because I don't want to be rude, but like, there was something about her that I always just kind of like settled wrong with me. So I never really liked her content. Like, whenever I would see her come up and start talking about something, it just seemed a little bit ick to me. I guess that's what the kids are saying now. Like, oh, that's ick. Like, some stuff she would do would be like so overly exaggerated. It was like when somebody's doing something, like we can really talk about later in the show, and they're just it's almost like a song and dance. That's always the vibe that I got from her. So now,
so what kind of content does she do? Because I don't think I ever saw her.
Well, she does kind of like, I would even say she does like inspirational content, but she also has like this she runs a couple businesses, and she talks a lot about like how you should live. Like one of the points that she would make would be like, oh, families should just live together until they get businesses off the ground, right? Like, you might not want to live with your siblings or your cousins, whatever, but it's just like, that's what other that's what other cultures do, and this is how they produce income or whatever after a certain time. So anyway, I was not against her. She actually married this guy who also, that seems, I don't know. She's having to pay. Let's get to the point here. She's in trouble now. There's a settlement because apparently she was misleading consumers. So she's basically ordered to pay almost $90,000 in restitution, which is interesting because it's a lot of people right now who are getting hemmed up for being called scammers. And DJ Envy has been a part of these types of stories. There's a lot of people out here who are being called to the carpet. And I mean, we watch some people behind the scenes who is calling people scammers or affiliated people who aren't even. But it's like, what do you think about this?
I mean, what's her product? What is she paying them back? What was she misleading them about?
No, I think she was selling a course, because here's what I know she does. She has this line of beauty, like she has like basically like an online beauty warehouse. Like, you know how you go, what is that place called? Beauty supply store. It has online beauty supply store. I couldn't remember how to say it. An online beauty supply store. So she'll just be like, doing things like this, like selling things, but she has that.
Okay.
Also does some like motivational content, and then she's also done some faith content too, like some
okay.
Some religious.
Wow, she got to pay back $90,000.
So yeah, what did you do to have to pay back $90,000? And how are you going to be
I
You
mean,
know,
so I gotta look
Curl
more.
Bible. That's the name of it, Curl Bible. It's
I have heard of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know though. I gotta look more into whatever her course was, but I could see that because if you think about what it takes to do some of those courses, right? Once you charge people and you get all the money, you have to deliver what you fucking charge these people for. You know what I mean? So that does seem like a lot of money, but how much was the course? You know what I mean? The course probably was a couple $1,000s. I don't know, but that's wild that she has to pay them back. So I'm seeing stuff like this kind of in social media recently where they're trying to hold people accountable for stuff like this. Like a lot of internet things are being paid more attention to. You know what I mean? So
Coriel.
Who?
Coriel. I know who Coriel is through.
Oh yeah, I thought
y'all said I was a hater when I said this years ago. Sounds like she had an excellent lawyer. Yeah, so this is kind of like the story or whatever. And this is reporting from the shade room, but this is something like, whatever. We have a lot of topics, so I'm going to keep it moving.
But that's hard though, too, because, I mean, not hard, but that's messed up too, because, like, once you mess up your personality out here like that, not personality, but your persona or your brand, like, that's going to be kind of tough to come back from.
It's going to be tough to come back from. It sure is. And I mean, but she was never like the epitome of like, oh man, I hope to be like her someday. Like she always came off a little bit, bro. She always came out like off us a little bit like just like fake, like we're not all the way buying it, and you know, it was not. It was like she was a little cringe. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But that's why Coriel is so funny because that's
I've heard of Coriel, like, but I've never heard of this girl. I've heard of Coriel, but I never heard of this girl, so I never watched that girl's stuff or whatever. But it's another person. It's a couple other people out there that have done these courses, and then people complain that they didn't get what they wanted out of the course. And it's really with those courses where there's not a tangible product. It's like, I'm going to show you how I did something, or I'm going to give you, tips on how to do what I'm doing. And especially if it's like how to be some way. Because some people do courses about, how to be more feminine or whatever. Like, so those muddy the waters a little bit too. Because it's like, dang, how do you prove that? So that's why I was like, what was her product? But I got to look more into see what happens, and I want to see those comments, so I'm gonna go look at that further after we're off of here.
No, I definitely would see. Okay, so speaking of comments, because I haven't seen these comments, but I'm gonna share this tab. So this is basically a story that we covered. We're revisiting a story. We should make that like a segment. We should make that like the revisit or the I don't know, whatever. I'm revisiting this because we covered this a couple of maybe like last week or something. This young lady she's being called the Brick Lady. Didn't make that up, but she apparently could have been scamming people for money. So this is somebody's page that is showing her do like twerk, like she slapped somebody and twerk. It's like people do things. I don't understand. I don't know if she really got hit by a brick or what.
So no. So I think that what this did was there is a topic surrounding this, and we discussed that about how do we jump in when somebody's in distress? Do we not jump in? Yeah. We talked about that whole thing last week when we talked about it, right. So that's why things like this happen, and then they're like people come out looking crazy and it's a hoax, but there's still a lesson to be learned on the surface, right? Not for her, but just in general. Okay, so we ain't waste our time last week. However, when people are found to be lying about stuff like this, it's crazy. It's crazy because she's done it before. I think she got like $4,000 one time, and she got like $40,000. It's crazy. She never filed a police report. The people, pulled the camera footage because obviously, if I'm the owner of somewhere or whatever, I want to see what happened. Like you're talking about my establishment, but so it, And then there are people who do stuff to themselves to garner sympathy sometimes. Like we've seen it before. But you know, I don't have any words for this lady. This is probably gonna be the end of it though, because please stop. You're being ghetto right now. Please.
He got something to say about this.
Anyway, but yeah, so once I found out, like, because I think that we talked about it, and then I started seeing people's videos about how it was like not real, could possibly not be real.
Right, I was like, oh, did you? Yeah, you told me that first. You were like, did you? I've been hearing this. So when I saw something, I started to go and look for it. Like, oh, what are people saying about it? But like, I'm looking in the comments. These comments are funny too. I'm just looking at them.
I mean, this is messed up too, because it's like this is why people be like not trying to give online, because you just never know. So when I give to situations, I give out of the kindness of my heart. Now I ain't give nothing to this lady, but you know, it's like people are really preying on the fact that people have kind hearts and will give up their money for a cause. You say, when you need help or whatever. And situations like this just don't help. It just doesn't help the people who really have needs out here sometimes, or something happens. We're kind of like, did that really happen? So we're forced to be like that, because there's a lot of these situations. Like, but the way these dudes, because I seen a bunch of dudes break it down. I've seen a couple of females break it down, whatever. But the way these dudes broke it down was like, listen, I got something to prove. But I'm like, yo, she's whack out here. That's all I'll say about that.
She is. I mean, listen, I'm the same person that believed that lady who said she saw that kid on the side of the road. So guys, don't listen to me. That means when people do things like this, because I certainly believe it. And you know what?
It's okay. That you have to question, like, should I believe her?
Well, you know what? It's okay. So now we're getting to the status where hopefully people are believing people on a scale, like believing Black women on a scale like that. Because just because these people are lying doesn't mean that we shouldn't believe people.
I mean, because the thing is, you have to think about, she turned the camera on and recorded it. I still want to know what happened to her face, like, to make it look like that. But I think I read somewhere she might have some type of disorder, allegedly. Come on now.
Oh, wow.
Some type of disorder that kind of caused swelling in parts of her body. But I don't know. I
don't know what the hell's going on, but this topic right here got me. Whoever the real hero with the X is with this Martin Jones, now that you can comment with pictures, like, I'd be forgetting you could do that, actually. But
I forgot you could do that too. Hey, Gwendolyn.
Hey, Gwendolyn. Oh, thank you.
I mean, but then I was confused, because I was like, so those dudes were talking, and it kind of seemed like they didn't really see everything that was going on. But there was another dude that was like, oh, I didn't help her. Maybe he was just talking in the sense of when she came to them. Because I'm like, if none of y'all saw nothing happening, I mean, I guess that would explain why they didn't do anything.
Yeah. So if she's doing this to get, like, you, and this is, again, if this is the same thing that we just saw with the young lady who claimed to have gotten kidnapped for however long she said, I think it's a thing about, like, not thinking that it's going to get the attention because it's on social media. People have to realize that, like, social media is still media. So if the mainstream media catches on to it, like, yeah, we're all out here believing people. We're believing what you're saying. You better be able to prove it. Oh, this is all just leading up to my argument later. Anyway.
And I gotta, who was I listening to? Dang, was I listening to Mocha? Mocha might have said this when she talked about it. But I thought I heard her say something about there was another situation in her life where she claimed that she got a racist email or something like that. And somebody that she knew confirmed that she sent the email to herself. Yeah, I think that's what I heard Mocha say. I got to go back and listen to her video. But I think she was talking about other stuff that the lady had been involved with. But she'll have to tell me if I'm wrong or not. But anyway, my point is, I can't trust her now. I don't believe anything she has to say at this point. I mean, it's just the whole thing that you had to actually turn on your camera and do all of the things that you did. It's not like somebody was like, "Hey, she needs help. This is what happened to her. Here's her GoFundMe." She's been performing, so that's why I'm like, "Yo, that's."
And then if something like this is what I want people to realize. Like when something like this, when you're staging something like this, people are actually going through things, and when they have to tell you, when they have to come out and say, "Oh, these things are happening to me," you're just making everybody, question them because you're doing these things for like likes or views or, to go viral. So that's wild.
Plus, like you can, I don't understand why people don't understand that when you do stuff like that, it is gonna go viral. Like people are gonna like what? Anyway, right, Blondie is unbelievable. That's where I'm gonna leave that at.
People are gonna care. Like I care about this. Dog. They're
now
it's an alien. Okay, this is a corpse. It's an alien corpse. This is what's happening in Mexico. So basically, there's a scientist in Mexico who like reveals these two alien corpses to the Congress. Like it's obvious that these things are not human. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's real. I think
that
people
looks like ET, but isn't it interesting how if we went from not talking about UFOs as far as like, no, that's not a thing, to now we're like revealing alien bodies to Congress.
I think they're doing this for a reason. They're now trying to get us to make sure that we see that they've been putting this out here, because I think there's aliens we're about to start seeing aliens. That's what I think. I think it's gotten past the point where they can hide it anymore. And it's like, well, we have to start mixing this into reality. I think this is what's happening. I think we're now I don't know. I'm sorry.
I gotta be honest, John. What?
I do. I mean, like, think about it. Since maybe last summer, maybe early last year, we started to see more of these stories about how, people are going to their Congress. Like in America, they had that like a couple months ago where somebody was testifying before Congress because they were like in Arizona or something. Like they had some sightings. They had some things have happened. And even the person who claimed that there was a being in there, not for being in their backyard, like, I think I saw some fake stuff about that, but some of it was real. I think now it's like making the news because they can't hide it anymore. And it's like it's been being hidden for too long. You know what was funny? You can see all the things that I be searching for. I had some like shoes on the side, like advertisements and showing.
I didn't even realize I was looking at ET Land right there or whatever. Like I don't really know what I think about that. Like I think anything's possible. You know what I'm saying? But like I don't think that my mind is able to wrap around like actually seeing one, which is probably why if they do exist, I haven't seen one. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that they exist. So what are they doing right now? Like where are they? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, listen, don't call them out. Don't call them out. All right, listen. Our next story is a little bit of it's a multi sexual story. Tyrese is coming out reflecting on his interview with DJ Envy, who's another person who's being called out for fraudulent activity or something like this. Anyway, Tyrese is visibly upset in this video. I don't know why. Listen, I was gonna say I don't know why people come on social media and do stuff like this, but I guess he's being, transparent, and he could have left some of the stuff out, but he chose not to. It's like the raw footage of.
I mean, yeah, and to be honest, like once you turn the camera on, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just have to be responsible enough to come on in not to come on in certain moments. But I don't think he knows that or what that is, because he's dealing with other stuff, whatever. But now we're gonna be like Tyrese came on the internet and cried again. Did you watch that video? Did you watch the interview on the Breakfast Club?
No, I was trying to watch clips.
Me either. I didn't watch the interview, and I just watched the one clip where Envy said he was going to box his mouth, which I thought was hilarious in itself. Like,
in itself is such a soft statement. It's like, what are you talking about, young man?
I was just
I know he's old.
Don't ever say that again.
Box your mouth.
And like, I know what he meant by it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna punch you in your mouth or whatever. But like, it would have been more effective. It would have been more effective to me if he would have just said, "Punch you in your mouth."
There's a more manly way to say things. Okay, there's a more manly way to say things, and you did not get it right.
No, I was like, what? Like, it's like when somebody's talking and you following everything they're saying, like you understand what they're putting down, but then they get to one like little phrase and you'd be like, wait, what are they talking about? And I know it's probably a saying wherever he's from, but it just, to me, it just sounded like, it's like, you know, you talking hard to somebody, or not hard to somebody, but you talking like stern to somebody, and then you like, you slip and say something like that just totally just voids out everything you said.
Yeah, like what?
It's like, wait,
like everybody's at the record scratch, like
I don't know. I don't know. That's just how it hit me. When I heard him say it, I was just like, I don't know. That was my natural reaction. Like, okay, you could have said something else. But who am I to tell that man what he's gonna say? But I thought it was crazy. But I need to watch the interview too, because I didn't watch it, but I do want to see it because yeah, I want to see how he did react. So he must not have said anything there, but now he's coming live or he's putting it on the internet what his reaction is to after the fact.
Well, I think, okay, one of the things that bothers me about this is, like, you know, I'm a mean person and sometimes, I guess, and part of me wants to laugh at him. Okay. But the other part of me is like, it's so unfortunate that we're not mature enough as a society to see him crying, because I think he's, you know, people are frustrated. Like a lot of times when I cry, it's not because I'm sad, it's because I'm frustrated. Mm-hmm. And it's like, right. Oh, I think this, and I feel like he was trying to keep his cool, and it upset him that he didn't have control over keeping his cool. And I think that's what we're seeing here. But also, it's just funny. I don't know why, but it's just funny because it's Tyrese. And it's like, sir, go get yourself together, then come on camera. Because you have I think over that.
It's funny to me for him because you know, the circumstances surrounding the other time were just like, you don't, like you said, you should get yourself together and then come on camera. But for this situation, I gotta watch the interview because, like, yeah, you know, I don't have a problem with like emotion, right? I can, and like you, if I'm crying, it's either because something sad happened or because I'm really angry. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't think it's anything wrong with people like emoting. You know, that is what it is. But it's just like Tyrese brings some of these situations on himself. I mean, because I don't know all the details surrounding this DJ Envy situation, but why are you even texting his wife and you're married and she's married? Like, that's crazy to me. And yeah, you're Tyrese, but like, dude, you know, and it sounds like he helped them out financially at some point because they said that big great thing that he did, but they didn't say what it was. So I'm guessing it was financially, but you know, sometimes when you have people like him, he's Tyrese. He obviously throws that around, as we can see from the Home Depot situation, right? And so if he did something for them, I feel like they probably felt eventually that they had to cut that tie anyway. But it's just the way that DJ Envy goes about stuff. Like, yeah. Like, if y'all do have a problem, that's cool. But you're about to have an interview. Like, are you going to really... I don't know. It is kind of similar to what stuff we talk about with Ready to Love. It's like, okay, one emotion is one thing, but it's another thing to know that you're being recorded for something and you still have a certain reaction, or you still choose to say something that you might not, you know, think fond of later. So I don't know if I could clown Tyrese right for this one yet. because it's just so silly. DJ Envy is just silly to me. So
people in the comments going off because I don't know what it is with me in comments these days, but
comments are everything.
I'm sorry. I agree with some of these people saying like, okay, we can't laugh at him because we talk about how we want people to show their real mental health state, and now we're here, and, you know, but it's not, you know, we have to go through this too because some of us think it's really funny and we have to mature, but also it's like, just don't put that up there. Like, you have to understand that, like, even though that's your state of mind and being, like, you know, some of us are going to laugh at you, especially when it looks funny. And it's kind of,
it's a catch-22 though, too, because while we look at it one way, you know, somebody else out there might be feeling the same way, and it might be, you know, they're probably in the comments talking about, yeah, bro, but it's just, you know, I don't know. It's just when somebody gets online and starts to be emotional and stuff like that, especially about this situation, it's like you and the dude were face to face. You know how this is going to be received because of things you've recorded and released in the past, and so it's like, I don't know. And then it gives, like I said, once you put it out there, it gives people on the internet the right to talk about it now, and to give thoughts and comments and to laugh, you know. So I don't know, like, cause I'm not saying that people shouldn't emote, but you can't control how people receive what you put out there, what you look like when you're emoting. Like, you can't, you get, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any words for this one right now because I gotta see. What are your words?
I want to be emotionally mature, but I'm not. I'm not yet. Listen, I have 3 things to point out. Number 1, I do have compassion for people who grew up in the public eye, because you think about it, like, him and Usher were out at similar ages. I think Tyrese might have been 16 when that Coca-Cola commercial came out. Mm. And it was like right around the time that Usher had released My Way, right? And they were like, remember, because Tyrese was in My Way. That was like 1998 or something like this. Here's the deal. Normal people shouldn't do this, especially not you, Tyrese. Like, you just shouldn't come online like this. You shouldn't be giving birth online. You shouldn't be feeling your emotions out loud online. Like, you just use it for something else. And I think, yeah, it's okay to be emotional, but when you do that, understand that some people are going to laugh at you. Also, you're wearing a choker. And how did that happen? These are the things that could be kept privately if you weren't online crying. It's not that hard to just be like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard to just come on like 30 minutes later after you've gotten yourself together and be like, I was really emotional earlier, but now I'm going to express what it's come to. It's like you could have avoided all this. So I feel bad for people who have mental stability issues, and I mean, like, shit, I'm one of them too. Like, I'm not the only ones to have it all together, but I'm not online doing this, and I hope that I never am.
No, but it is a thing.
Like, you bring me up, like, remember what you said?
Listen, you do need to know when it's okay to turn on the camera and stuff like that, you know, because it could later be used against you. And if he comes out and says anything different than what he's saying now about the situation, somebody's gonna bring it up and be like, well, you said this, you know. And so, yeah, there are times where you should not get on the camera, but if you're dealing with a mental, like you said, instability, and like, what I want to know is who is around him that, like, while he's doing this.
Yeah, who's around him? And he has like a daughter, at least one. He might have 2, but he has a family. Like, I know he's not married. I don't think he's married anymore, but somebody needs to have his back. But at the same time, like, he didn't hurt anybody, like, except himself. Why are you wearing a choker, though?
Yeah.
Like, questions that we wouldn't have if you weren't. I
mean, yeah, but he would have been. Okay, say when he was at the Breakfast Club, let's say once DJ Envy said that, he pushed back from the chair and just, like, rushed him. Like, would he be wrong for fighting him in the...
But... no, he wouldn't, because that would be a consequence of someone saying something like that to you. But I feel like Even if I don't know,
I'm not even scared anymore. Like if somebody's like, "I want to box you in your mouth," I'm like, "Get the hell out of here with
what does that look like? Get your panties back on, sir."
I don't know. To me, it was just a cringy situation or whatever. So I don't know.
It's weird. It's weird, but also just don't be going online crying. Anyway, all right. Listen, the next story is my favorite story, guys. Coach Prime is out here doing things that we've never seen before or heard of, and I just feel like it's so funny because I've never been interested in college football. Listen. I've never been interested in college football, not even when I was in college. But
you know what's crazy? Oh, well, I guess you wasn't in band in college.
No, I wasn't. I played at one game that they let us play at the other school. And they were like, "Oh, yeah, come back. We're going to, we're building." I was like, "No, I'm not going back." I played at one game. That was it.
Okay. All right, so what's he doing?
Okay. So he's taking over. So Deion Sanders came to take over the University of Colorado's football team. And it's so funny because I heard about this like last year when they signed the deal. I think it was last year, and people were talking about that he sell out and all this. It's like, no, he's falling opportunity. Anyway, this team went from 1-12 last year, something like that. Like they won one game last season, to now they've basically bust out the gate with 2 games. So after the first game, I actually watched this comedian spoof him, and I was like, oh, let me go see what Deion Sanders is doing over there. So I watched the game last weekend, and it was so good. I was like, wow, like I'm not even a football fan, but like all the stuff leading up to it, because I had like watched some stuff on Deion Sanders' page, and it's so motivational. And you think about what his story is. I didn't stop to think about this, even though, James is over here covering it. It's like, this is like the most hilarious, most amazing sports story ever, like even bigger than Michael Jordan, because it's like Deion Sanders was a football player. He was playing football and in the World Series for baseball at the same time. Like nobody's ever done that. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like a baseball player and a football player at the same time. Then he goes and becomes this like sports anchor, and now he's coaching, and it's like everything he says he's gonna do, he does it. But this is such a fun story to watch because this football team is like turning around right before our eyes. Like they
everybody had all eyes on them. Yeah, you're right. It was last year because I remember I was looking into it, and because I was like, people were like, should he leave or should he not leave? And it's just like, bruh, I can't stay somewhere forever. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I was thinking he needed to make the best decision for his family, right? Yeah. So I know like he took his son to go to that school, whatever. And I remember that their record was 1-12. So they already done beat that record. Now they won 2 games, right?
They've done won 2 games out the gate.
Listen, Deion Sanders has been doing this thing. And so I just hope that other people can follow in his footsteps as far as like, Black athletes that used to be, prime time, so to speak, and now they're, giving back in another way. But everybody don't have that skill though. Everybody don't have that the ability to coach like he does or whatever. So
he's such a great leader. Like he's such a great leader. Like just listening to him, I challenge everyone to go overhead on Deion Sanders' page, like literally. I'm not asking you to follow him or whatever, but just look at some of these posts and listen to what he is saying. It's like, wow, like he literally is a great leader. Like he's standing here saying things that are like relevant to all of our lives. It's like wild to see this. It's like there was a person, who was it? Man, I'm gonna remember it. It was like a football coach, Vince Lombardi, perhaps, who has all these sayings. Like he's one of the most quoted, football coaches of all time. Like people call it like Lombardi time, like when you're like 15 or 20 minutes early, because that's what he expected from his team. Like there's certain coaches that like Madden, or like, that these games are named after and stuff like that. I don't even know if Madden was a coach, but I think he was. Anyway, It's one of those things where, like, I think Deion Sanders is about to become a household name like that because just of his, it seems like he's applying simple logic that he really believes in, but he also has all this swag, right? And it has like, remember, I remember when everybody used to be doing those touchdown dances he would do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like none of that has gone anywhere, but now he's just like smarter and he's impacting more.
Yeah,
people.
he got a lot of haters. I mean, everything you do, you're gonna have haters. But yeah, around that time, people were like really upset with him for leaving, and I'm like, dude, holler back. I'm about to go do something else, and somebody got to do it. You know what I mean? So, and then I think it was something about something happened with somebody who was stealing from them at the school that they left. I can't remember the story behind. I got to go back and look that up.
Well, it's unfortunate because I feel like we have to see stories like this. Like it's dope for somebody to be doubted and go to a different place and like purely bring their talent, and you can see them have an impact right away. It makes so much sense to me too because you can tell when people are authentic and like he just is bringing his whole personality and he's touching people with, just basic logical stuff.
The thing is, though, I want to know how many of his players did he bring to that school? Because like one of the things that people were mad about was that it wasn't a black school. You know what I mean? But he's already made changes. I bet they paid him handsomely too. I forgot what I said that number was. I did a video on that on maybe it was on my channel. Maybe it's on my channel. I did a video about him, or maybe I was playing his Instagram or something like that.
What's going on?
Well, no, I think I did it on this channel. I think I just played. He was around the time where everybody was arguing and people were mad that he.
Yeah. Like it was like last year. It was like,
yeah, I did a video and I remember, I put the Instagram video in there after I said whatever I said. And I remember somebody came and commented and they were like, this is a yes man. And this, that, and the other. He spouted all these things that were opposite of the view, I guess, that I was putting on the video. But I was just like, that's why we live in America. I didn't respond to it. But I mean, people are going to have their opinions. It's all about what you focus on. And he is positive, and I mean, he's succeeded in a lot of things, and it probably has something to do with how positive he is sometimes too. So
I definitely
always stick that in.
Crazy how people who don't have opportunities like that have all the advice for people who get opportunities like that. It's like, shut up, sit down. You don't even know what you're talking about, sir. Talk about, I would do that if I were you. Who have you ever coached? What do? You probably work somewhere that you don't even like going to. And you telling this man, don't take that job. That's against what? That's against what? Who's
I mean, and then on top of that, I got bills to pay and I got things I want to do. So that money they were offering him was right. So I mean, I agree with what he did. He, because like I said, you could be a great person at your job and people could love you, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't grow beyond that. So,
yep. And it doesn't mean you need to find like societal boundaries that are well, the people don't think I should do this, so I guess shut your mouth. The people don't think I should do this. The townspeople, no. He's gonna go and do what he's gonna do, and everybody has an opportunity.
And he did it
if they work for it, and he's winning, guys. He was right. Okay,
I mean, because they still got the rest of the season, but if they were 1-12,
they've already beat themselves.
I was going to say if they were 1-12,
they don't win no more games.
You know what I'm saying? If they don't play no more games this season, they still beat the record from last year.
They beat the record from last season, which no one necessarily expected them to come out the gate like this. But if even they would have, at the end of the season, been, we won 2 times this year. That's better than last season. Well, we got the first 2. And I think that they really are learning stuff. Like, I think the way they were playing was really good. It's like it was very strategic. They were in some predicaments there, and they really were thinking. And Shador, his son, he really knows how to quarterback. Like that, I've not seen some of this stuff.
Hello, it would be a disgrace for him not to.
Yeah,
he has to know what he's doing. Like he must. His father is.
Yeah,
he better know.
And apparently his father hired, I don't know for sure, but this is someone else told me this. he trains with Tom Brady. Like his father's Deion Sanders. So he basically was like, hey, Tom, come holler at my son. Come practice him up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, sure. Like, you just practice him, just doing the workout Tom Brady does. So it's cool. You know what I'm saying? He's in college. I'm like, this is dope. But like, also, I was really befuddled when I was looking at his page, and it was like, sometimes he'll give a speech, sometimes he'll say something, sometimes he'll be interacting with people, and it's just genuine, and it makes you feel good. And he's just saying really truthful things, and it's just like a really motivational page. If you guys don't follow Deion Sanders, you should. I mean, it's gonna definitely pick your day up. I'll tell you that much. Like, he's really hilarious too. But yeah, his son is really good.
I remember him from back in the day with them suits. Deion Sanders always had it was like, oh my God.
He always used to have like a bandana on his head or something like that. Anyway, listen. Shout out to Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. They're motivating me. Whenever I feel like, well, I've only started doing this since last week, but I've definitely got a lot of inspiration out of them, and I hope they do well this season just because.
That's what's up.
Okay, now let's get into this radio stuff. Okay. Now, everyone. Oh my gosh, we're already 56 minutes in. How did this happen? How do we listen? Finally, let me just say this. And listen, I want to just apologize ahead of time tonight because I have to say what I have to say. I have a vocabulary and I have just a notion in my heart to be able to express myself. I'm going to work within those two toolboxes, and I'm going to say what I have to say. I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings, but I have the limited resources that I have to work with, and my sister's here to help. This is going to help me here tonight. But I have to say what I have to say, and I only have the means by which I've learned, so we'll just see what happens. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. We have to tell the truth, okay? This is what I want to say.
I agree. I mean, shit, it's not even about that. We don't know anybody personally, and we're not being disrespectful. So
no, it's never about that. But I have to call it like I see it, and I thought about this in a number of ways because I was like, it's not our stance to be bashing anybody. We would never do anything like that. Like reflective of like, oh, this person's going down. Like, that sounds ridiculous. I would never say that about somebody. It's never that. But there's some observable behaviors that you just have to call what they are. And that's, that's why we've called you all here tonight. Because anyway, no, I'm joking. All right, here's what's real. These interviews are getting off the chain. We watched Ready to Love last week. I feel like my whole world has turned upside down since last week as far as this show is concerned. Like, I didn't even catch all of the interviews. There's so many interviews happening all at once. I didn't see Jessica's interview. I only saw like a little snippet. And then I saw that Kat was getting interviewed by somebody. I didn't see that though. So I'm like, okay. Because I've just been so busy with work that I didn't get the chance, but I did. Happened to catch that Chris on Crystal XO, and then Morier came up, and that was wild.
Oh my God,
wild!
It was wild.
I'd really like to talk about this.
I'll say this: I did not get to watch a lot either. I caught most of Jessica's interview, and I caught Chris's interview, but I didn't have a chance to watch. I don't think I caught Kat. I know that. Oh yeah, I didn't see that one either. But anyway, I do want to hear your thoughts about this. Like, okay, because at first it was like, all right, we were like, well, why is he so mad? Like, what is missing? What do we not see? And things like that. Like, we had a thought of him at first after the first interview with Crystal and others, and then we saw that blow up happen, and then now he comes back to double down on the conversation. So I want to know what you think, because the part that I want to focus on for me is he could not give an example of or a reason as to what made him as mad as he got. And that's what I was looking for. You know, and
Oh
he
my
could have
God.
avoided a lot of that by just saying, I lost my cool. That's all I'll say.
He failed in so many ways. It was like almost hard to watch, but also I was so fascinated by it. I just kept watching because it's like I saw him in that interview with Dear Future Wifey, and I thought one way of him. Tonight, I really realized that he's a get-wit.
I was trying to think of a word, but why do you think he's a get-wit? Like, what do you mean?
Well, first of all, I'm calling him this, but we
got backtrack real quick.
He displayed bad behavior.
Oh God!
I'm not calling him a bad. I'm saying that was bad behavior. He was way too upset. It's like they switched roles. Like she ended up becoming the cool, collected, calm.
Well, yeah, I think that
he became emotional and and hysterical. Like it was like, dude, calm down. What are you doing here? I tried 3 times. Like, why do you have to are you jumping out of your skin?
Man, so here's something that I want to interject though. Like, yeah, he got really upset, right? And what I was expecting him to do, because Jessica didn't go over the situation like that either, right?
Yeah.
But she was pretty much saying she didn't do anything, but he got really upset, but he could not say, like, this pissed me off. This specific thing pissed me off. But I on the other side though, I have been in situations with people who know how to be calm, but they have a curt tone. They're not being disrespectful, but they taking dings, but you can't really put your finger on it. And he just didn't know how to articulate that and just say, yeah, I got triggered and I let myself lose my cool, because at the end of the day, you're on TV at this point. Like, you're on TV. So, and then somebody else pointed it out. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Crystal, but overall, it's like when these things are being viewed on TV, like, you are representing yourself and you're representing a certain group of people, whether it be people who go on online dating shows, whether it be Black people, whatever it is that you're representing a group of people. So you do have to keep in mind, like, listen, if I know that I'm pissed, we just gonna have to figure out something else to do, because if y'all not gonna let me leave, then I'm not putting the mic on, or whatever the case may be. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. I just don't think that he did take accountability for it. He did apologize to me.
Though? Okay.
Thought was good. Well, okay. When I say take accountability, he acknowledged that he shouldn't have been speaking to her like that, and he shouldn't have gotten that mad. So that's a general level of accountability. He apologized for it. I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, like, all the extra conversation could have been avoided if he would have just been like, I lost it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and this, that, and the other. But I felt like he was really passive aggressive, and he wanted to seem like he was confronting the confrontation, but while inside the confrontation, he was Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, let Mario come up here. Yeah, we can talk. But then when he came up there, it was like dancing. I'm just like, Chris.
It was such a facade. I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, that's the only thing I had to say right there.
I had a hard time watching Chris. Even in the beginning, he did a couple of fake laughs, and I wasn't sure what the significance of Crystal bringing her friend Mo up there was, but even right there, Chris started to seem to like vie for his approval. Like, there's these little cues that I just picked up on, and you know what? I hate to say this, but listen. There's a such thing. If there's a such thing as a combative woman, there's a such thing as a soft-spoken man, or there's a such thing as the opposite of what you might think is aggressive, characterized through male behavior, but it can come off as very, passive aggressive. I feel like he came off as passive aggressive. Another thing, just a sidebar, nobody, to be blamed for this, but the production team, I feel this season has to look at what didn't work last time. I really hope they have a couple meetings there because there's so many things that are coming out in the interviews that we would have loved to have seen and taken into account as a part of the storyline. It's like you were trying to tell a story, but you didn't tell some of the very important parts. And it's like, that's a fail, guys. Look, we're still looking at this show, so it's not like we're going to stop watching the show, but they got to do better next season. I feel like production, especially now that people are, starting to give some of the details of like, oh, production tells you what to say before you go in and you got to do this, or they don't know who they're going to go on a date with, or these things are happening. It's like, okay, that is not, it's not coming across more entertaining on camera. It's like we would have rather just known what was really happening. That was a better story. You know what I'm saying? And other things would make sense. I feel like the picture that they're painting, they're trying to like make an entertaining storyline. It just doesn't make any sense to us. There weren't any connections, and maybe that's why they overreacted. But that's just a sidebar.
I mean, yeah, because we didn't really have that many connections. Like we couldn't really see the connections happening, right?
Right.
It does have something to do with them not showing us the dates, some of the dates, but in this season, I feel like it doesn't really have nothing to do with that because it wasn't really there. We only have a few or a couple people that we know like had a good spark with each other, but a lot of these other ones are looking like just for the show. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like the show has a story and they cast for the story and they have it already written, the path that it's going to go. The people just don't know that what they're setting up, like what they're signed up for. Yeah, they don't really know. And so they're just going along with the dates and things like that, and not really realizing that some of the stuff that they're using isn't even going to be shown because that's not important for your character or whatever.
Which is wild because like we're watching this and there's already stories being formed. And I'm not saying you should tell every part of the story, but it's like the real storyline that's happening is probably more interesting than the one that they're creating. Because certain things this season just didn't make sense. Like
a lot of stuff. And the thing about it is, it's like, okay, I feel like that's like something that needs to be addressed at this point because a lot of the cast members have gone on shows and these interviews and said that they need therapy after the show. And it's like if the show has done a number on several people to the point where they need therapy, which therapy, there's nothing wrong with therapy. Therapy is good. But if you need it after this show because of the situation or experience that you had, then it needs to be, then they're out here in the streets defending themselves for something that they may not have even said the way it came off, or really wasn't, because it was all because of the network. So it's like at some point I need the networks to address that they're causing this havoc in these people's lives. And like, to the point where I think I heard Morier say this yesterday on that interview, Chris's interview, that it starts to feel like a job. They're not even able to enjoy the process. So I don't know, like, because it's like, yeah, they get upset at the stuff that people out here reviewing the show says, but it's like we don't know what y'all did. All we know is that we're watching the show. This added extra recap and stuff that we're talking about online is just extra because when we didn't have it, like people would just walk away with whatever the TV showed them. So I feel like they need to address the network as to what the overall goal is, because maybe it's not the same as when it started, but I would be upset with, well, I mean, I won't even say I'll be upset, because if you signed up, it's gonna be manipulated. The film is gonna be manipulated. But they shouldn't have to be out here defending their characters over clips that that we saw on TV if it's not the truth. And they have time and again had the crowd upset with people thinking that they're a villain and they're this and they're that, and all to find out that it was something manipulated by the network. So I don't know. That's a big old conundrum to me. But and on the topic of Chris, like, I do think that he was passive aggressive. I think that he was accountable for the words that he said as far as doing it, the action of doing it and cussing her out of the table, but he never gave a reason as to why he did it, and he came off like he really doesn't like the confrontation. He wants to look like he handles things like directly, but he doesn't really want the meat of the confrontation. But Marie, okay, Marie is hilarious to me because Marie was shading the shit out of Chris the whole time while he was up there. I don't even know if Chris picked it up, but then even at the end when Chris was like, you know, are we still friends? Are we still cool? Why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? Like,
for?
The stuff that he said or they said about each other, Marie gets up there and the first thing he says was, "What's up, lying ass boy?" So Marie saying that he's lying about a lot of the things that he was saying, and Chris claimed that some people, you know, agree with what he's saying, but nobody's really, you know, it's not all out here, I guess. But you know, I don't know. I gotta look at the people that like Chris. And then I gotta look at the people that don't like him. Like, I know we're still missing a lot of information, but the way that he was on that interview is the same thing that we already saw in the situation. He did not stand up. He did not speak up. And that's the whole thing. Like, he probably thinks so much. No, I'm not diagnosing the dude, but he probably thinks so much about avoiding the confrontation that he does things inadvertently to make people have to confront him. You know what I mean? But yeah, so I don't know. This whole thing is a mess because that was Chris's interview. And then Morier was up there for half the time. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they came to an understanding. I think they agreed to disagree as far as how I saw it. Because he was saying that Chris didn't have any receipts and Chris didn't show us any examples of Jessica being combative. But like, I get what they're saying. Because even Crystal talked about the interview that she had with Jessica. That's what I mean about what is your definition of combative? Combative means, yes, eager and ready to fight, but what you perceive as eager and ready to fight is not the definition. You understand what I'm saying?
Right,
so it's going to be different from person to person. So, you know, that's why I was just like, yeah. So I don't know. Chris, he seems like he is a cool person if he's comfortable. But he was passive aggressive and he was sitting up there with this fake smile on, and I get it. He was trying to look calm, unbothered, you know, calm, unbothered.
Yeah, like, dude, we can see that you're upset here.
He looked really uncomfortable to me, and I can tell that he you know, he was just like, yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. Like having Maria come up there.
That was creepy about that. Here's the thing that was so unsettling about that. He really thought we believed him. He really thought that he was calm, and we could see that you're agitated. Like,
I can tell that he was uncomfortable. I can tell that he was uncomfortable. Now, the guy Mo that was up there, I think that was Crystal's friend. They reviewed the episode last week together, so she had him come back, but she had him come back to have this conversation with Chris again or whatever. But yeah, I didn't really get anything different from him from that interview. I did get that he really wanted to resolve the situation because he doesn't like the confrontation, but he wasn't I don't know. And then him and Marie both were kind of like Crystal would ask a question, and then they were both kind of like telling her, explaining events or explaining.
Yeah, they weren't answering the question right. You know she asked Marie a question about being a part of a alliance. Mm-hmm. And he never fully answered that question.
Listen, I mean,
but here's my issue with Chris. He never answered the question of what was specifically the issue that set him off. He described an atmosphere and a theory, and it was like he should have had something to point to be like, this is when I knew that this was a problem, right? He have none of that. So it's
because I'm telling you, Jessica sat there so smooth. Jessica probably is wizard with her words, and she knows how to read a person down without coming across as, you know, they might walk away thinking
What just happened here?
Like, and he could feel, like, I'm pretty sure she was a little curt in her message, meaning not curt, but I know that she probably had her composure and everything like that. But I know that it came off in a I don't know, in a certain way to Chris. Like, that calmness was what probably set him off, because all of it came down to, she's sending me home. We've had this, issue before. I know what this is about, kind of thing. And all of that together probably did that. He even probably realized he was filming for TV, because that probably set him off too. Like, she's sending me home after all this. But I don't know. So I really do believe she sat there. But like I said, I think she's one of those people that know how to do some things with her words. And like I said, it's probably going to be in a calm demeanor. It's probably going to be in a nice soft tone, or a high pitched tone. Not a threatening tone or anything like that. But I know people like that. Like, and if you think about it, like, if somebody, not to say that she was talking about like this, but if somebody came up to you and was like, you were talking and they were trying to explain something, and you were just like, yeah, really? I'm not saying that she was doing that, but it could have been a version. He could have taken it like that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I know what I'm trying to explain. Like, there's something that I can't put into words. There's a certain something that somebody can do while you're talking that it makes you feel some type of way, and they know that they're doing it, but you can't really prove it. I don't know. I've seen it happen before. So I don't know. I just feel like that's what happened, because he couldn't figure out anything to say that she did. He did say some examples of how he said that she was with production, with the wait staff, and people like that. But I don't know, like, because now I don't know if I should believe what Chris is saying. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Chris lied. He got caught in a couple of his lies there. And he kept calling Morier up for having receipts, but it's like, but you don't have any. But so I understand what you're saying. I'm about to play a clip of something that I think it might not sum up what you were just describing, but it's just like, when somebody's agitating you, they're not really, for you. You know what I'm saying? They're just like pushing your buttons. This is the best. This is the best, guys. This is the best I got. I just want you to look at this up real quick. When she got up and clapped, this was the most funny thing I've ever seen. Like, as far as I've never seen anybody clap for somebody like this. This is what you were talking about.
Like, see, I'm clapping. Okay. So two things. That was funny as I don't know what, because she clearly wanted to be like, you're not about to say I wasn't clapping today. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, she's not really doing anything wrong. She's clapping. She wasn't really in his face with her hands, but you know what I'm saying? A person could take offense to it, or it could just irritate them and piss them off. And that's basically what I got from the video, from the interview, is that he was basically trying to admit that he lost his cool, and he couldn't explain why. It was a bunch of different things, but I can't really tell you anything specific that would make me say this. You know what I'm saying? When, like I said, he could have avoided all that conversation if he would have just been like, I lost it and I shouldn't have, and like, it ended it right there. Like, you can't keep on saying that you apologize and she doesn't deserve that, but you're not really giving us an answer as to what sent you that way. And it's, to me, in that situation, it would just be easier to just be like, you know what? Yes, I did it. And I was feeling some kind of way. I lost my cool, and ended right there. Once he kept talking and trying to explain, it was just losing luster. And everybody was just like, he didn't answer the question. It was a good interview, though. I will say that, because it was a whole bunch of things said while they were having their back and forth, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, they were duking it out. But this is, I feel like, why they should leave the reunion for after people see the show, because I feel like it's things that you want to address, like, oh, I didn't know you said that in your confessional, though, right? Like, it's things that you want to address with people after the show airs, and it's things you want to clear up. And I don't think some of those choices would have been made if the production would have had to reunite with the cast. I feel like the production really made some things happen there that forced some
but
real.
nobody's holding the production accountable for that, though. They're just upset about, most of the people who are upset about people taking the wrong information from the show. They're not saying production are the people who painted me this way.
Well, you know what? Let's just do that for a second, because at the end of the day, I do know, and I know, guys, I've not been on a reality show, but it's like the things that you allow the camera to record you doing are things that you should be aware of and be in control of. And so when he said that, and I know he apologized for the thing about Jessica, but when he said what he said, but it's like, how did you get there? It gave off very like soft vibes. If you're going to talk about a woman being combative, then we have to talk about what the opposite of that is, right? If it's sort of like bad news for a woman to be a combative woman, then what is it for a man to be the opposite of what is ideal for that, right? We have to kind of really explore that, because I would imagine that's if that's what he's calling her out for, then the reason that he would hate it is because he's on the other side. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just feel like there's a lot that's like, we saw, look, I know production is doing what they're doing, but when we were in the mansion and things were said and Janelle then went and came and brought things up, I feel like a lot of people are really angry at Janelle. I don't know what she did, but I feel like she probably pressed some buttons, and we saw how she had, some smirky, like some comments. She had some comments after the whole elimination went down at the mansion or at the retreat or whatever this was, But it's like people have a lot of strong feelings for her, but I actually think that's why he's so emotional with no receipts, because I think he did things and said things based off emotions that weren't founded on his end. I think he assumed a whole bunch of things. Because if Jessica happened to have so much savvy that she can communicate disrespect non-verbally in front of witnesses.
Hold on, I'm not agreeing that she communicated disrespect. He took something as disrespect. I don't even know. He didn't even say that. He took something too hard.
He kind of said that. He didn't have anything to point to.
I want to go on record saying I don't think that she communicated any disrespect. I think that, like I said, sometimes people lose their cool. Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay.
No, I don't either.
Cool, but here's what his do after you lose your cool is to just own it and not have to add anything extra on it, because it takes away.
This is what I'm saying. So this is what I'm saying. Let's go where he is, right? Let's go into his corner. He's advancing that whatever it was in the atmosphere, in the air, and he knows that she's putting off some essence of disrespect, but he cannot quite put his finger on it. He was asked in several different ways, in several different times by different people, and he wasn't able to give an answer to it. So
started to get, I know he was like, I gotta go. Okay.
If Jessica's able to emerge this sort of essence of disrespect, like literally invisibly, right? Like there's no trace of it. You can't point to it. You can't describe it. You just know that it was in the air, right? It's like, well, then that's what we call getting away with it, because you have no proof. So you can't make those claims. She's pretty good at this now. Yeah. So now, you have nothing to say. So he's willing to get out there. He got so emotional. It's like, what did she touch you?
Listen, I'm trying to tell you.
Upset.
He's probably more mad at himself at this point, because whenever you let people get you off your square, the way that he let her get her off his square with nothing but her, conversation and demeanor, like it probably was tough for him to even face people after that, because he doesn't come off like that type of dude. You know what I'm saying? But that does tell me that he was probably bottling something up and not saying something up to that point. But yeah,
what happened, and maybe it's a okay, so let's just go here. Maybe it's a mixture of him trying to play the good guy, meanwhile not able to put some words to whatever pissed him off. Just say it, man, because all of the dancing and the, you know, it got way too thick in there sometimes when he was just trying to, it seemed like he wanted approval, but it's like, just say, he had fake laughs. I know I'm not the only person who noticed that.
Like I said, I saw that. I felt he was uncomfortable.
It's like, just come out and say what you mean. Say it with your chest, and then you'll feel better, and then we won't have to go through this whole song and dance. I feel like he was trying too hard to put off a persona, and it was not. It was pretty obvious to me. It was like thick.
Well, I think also. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'll just got one more sentence. Then Maurier kind of just came in there and summed it up. And I don't think he meant to be disrespectful, but I thought that was interesting that she dropped the link, though. Like, and he picked it up, and it was like,
because he was in the chat saying stuff. So, and then Chris said it, bring him up here. You know what I mean? But like I said, I think it's that general notion of, okay, come talk to me. Yes, we can talk it out. That's as far as he's willing to go with the conversation. He's not really the confrontation. He's not really trying to answer what he's being confronted with. He's trying to get past that. And then he'll still be able to say we had a conversation, even though we didn't talk about that, or I gave you the answer that I'm giving you, and you just don't accept the answer, right? Because he didn't really answer that question. And then, you know, like I said, okay, so then Maurier also so he accused Phil and Maurier of being moles and running stuff back to the girls. But Maurier said that he was the one going back and forth. So that's why I'm like, I don't know who to believe at this point. Like, what is really happening?
I know who to believe, because from the very beginning, one thing that we always said about Maurier is like, well, at least he tell it like it is. Like, I remember he would say certain dates, and it would be like, well, you know, you can't fault him for telling the truth, because he's always telling the truth. I believe Maurier. I'm not going to lie. So he comes in and he says,
but he also, okay, you believe Maurier. I don't know which one of them to believe, because I just don't know. Both of them are a little suspect to me right now. But Maurier also said that when he used the word combative, he was thinking not to say it, but he had a Freudian slip and he said it. So he was able to be like, okay, yeah, I messed up on that, but it was like he was not able to look at Chris in any type of like different light or whatever. But I have had Freudian slips, but
sure.
I just feel like Maurier now is looking to me like he might, especially now thinking about the alliance thing, he might have done that on purpose. I don't know. I don't know who to believe that.
I do agree that listen, let me just say this. I do think there was probably an alliance. I'm not going to deny that. And he never addressed that full on. So that's interesting. He never said, no, there wasn't an alliance.
What did he say, though? He said,
he described situations. His answers were descriptions of things. She asked him 2 questions, maybe 2 or 3 questions, and he was drinking water while she was asking. It always is. Listen, I know sometimes you have to drink water, especially when you're speaking for a long time, but it was so weird to watch them both drink water, because I felt like they weren't really thirsty sometimes when they were drinking. They were just like, I
definitely felt like that about Chris, because Chris had that uncomfortable looking smile on his face, like, I don't want to be up here frowning. I'm just gonna be up here like, you know, drink my water. So, you know, that's why I say I don't know who to believe, because they both, the fact that Maurier even jumped up there was kind of wild to me too. And I do agree with you about the reunion.
It screams truth teller, because a lot of people don't. He was just in the comments hanging out like, nah, I got to say something. I just feel like it just screams that, oh, he's telling the truth, because it's like, you know, Chris was just too. Listen, we all saw him up there. You were lying, Chris. We saw it. it's okay. It's not a bad, like, we're not coming at you trying to double team you or whatever. It's just like, I'm not even speaking for her, but I'm just telling you, we can see that you were lying. Sometimes people don't realize that, like, oh, I can see you. Hi. You know what I mean? Like,
Blondie said too emotional, but he said women are too emotional. And then she said Chris was the biggest liar and Morier was petty, but Morier did tell some lies though. See, like they were both doing the same kind of thing, but I think that I don't know, man.
I think Morier wasn't lying, but he wasn't telling everything because he could have said something.
So that's how I took it too. Like it was still a lot that wasn't being said.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think he actually said things that were like untrue. Because like even when Tequila has sent the screenshot to Crystal, she brought it up and she read it, and then it was just like, well, that's exactly what he just said. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Morier did seem like he was telling a lot more of the truth, and we've witnessed it on the show. Meanwhile, Chris, I couldn't really get a read on him sometimes, and he lied right then and there on the show. He called him Messy Morier, and then when Morier said something about it, Chris was like, "I didn't say that. That's what Crystal says."
I thought he said he got it on. He called him that on Crystal's show. Yeah, he said he got it from somewhere else.
He was like, I didn't say that, but it's just like, but we just heard you say it. And then there was other things that were like, you know, who calls somebody out on having receipts? Someone who didn't expect those receipts. It's just like, who walks around with pictures in their phone of things I said? Like, I do. Do you have any for what you're claiming? No, because you're not telling the truth. It was very interesting. It was fascinating, actually. But I think that there can be lessons learned here. I cringed at the end when he said, "Oh, we're still friends, right?" It's like, why do you need that? No, like just.
I cringed when he said that too, because I'm like, just have a conversation with him behind the scenes. Don't do this on live. But you know, you live and you learn, and people, you know, Chris doesn't seem like he has. And that's the other thing. It seems like the stuff that's not being said, right? It's hard to get up there and have a conversation about something and you know you can't say everything you need to say. So
that's true.
Maybe more stuff will start to make more sense when they do the post reunion interviews. But I do agree with you. They should do the reunion after the cast has had a chance to watch the show. Yeah, if they let them watch the show before it airs, it won't be new to them. But if they want to keep it like that, they would have to do the reunion closer to the end of the season. But then again, like you said, if they know that they're setting these people up a certain way to look a certain way, they're not going to want to come back, you know? So I don't know.
I almost feel like... Oh, wait, what did you say?
Interview.
I almost feel like they used the footage of the reunion and then decided on a storyline from there and worked their way back, because none of this stuff makes sense. And the reunion was shot way before anybody saw all of this. So it's like, what are they really doing? I think that it also just gives way too much rope for them to be playing with people's lives. And you're saying that people... Or you had said earlier that people have gotten, you know, post the show and thought, but they might need some therapy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, I just feel like, you know, that should be considered when they think about shooting the next season of this, if they haven't already, because like you're playing with people's lives here. So, you know, I so appreciate, especially, you know, recently, these behind the scenes interviews. I really appreciated the way Crystal let Morier come up there and defend himself, because I think we wouldn't have gotten the full story if Morier hadn't done that. And
well, we would have just got it on his interview. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but we would have had to listen to Chris go through a whole bunch of stuff. I think once things were cemented, like once things have been said, repeated, and there's time in between somebody else saying something, it kind of cements it's the truth. Like, well, you know, it's like, oh, well, it's a branch now. It's like now when somebody else...
that's what they were trying to explain to him about the word combative.
You know what I mean? He didn't understand that. He didn't. He didn't understand that. And I believe he lied about the word combative. I believe that he said it, and I believe that he said it more than and before he said it. And I think that none of the men were probably saying that word, but he's talking about at the end. I noticed he changed the story up a little bit, like they were shaking their heads. That's not.
He was trying to get Poirier to say that they agreed. He was like, this is yes, no. But the thing is, because what's going to happen is other people are going to be asked that question because there are other people involved, and you said it specifically that everybody agreed. So the other people, so it's just unless somebody else comes out and says it, then I'm just gotta look at Chris and just be like, yo, just take the L. Like you did
take the L.
Wow. And just hold it. Like, don't try to give no extra explanations. Like, no, just leave it alone. Don't try to justify it.
And he sounds crazy, and I don't know why, I just want to chalk it up. But he, seems like he's ready to move past this. So it's like, I don't want to bring this up. But he's just doing way too much as far as like acceptance. And I feel like if he was just telling the real truth, what he really thought, that it wouldn't come off so inauthentic. I don't necessarily know that he's lying about certain things, but he's not telling the truth. He's not really getting. I don't know what it is. What kind of barrier?
That's what I'm saying. I can't really put it like. I feel like that he is so worried about confrontation that he doesn't realize that a lot of the things that he's doing, not all the stuff, but a lot of the things that he does, like, secures the confrontation at some point. And that's the part, because it's like, you don't want to come off looking bad, but you're going to come off looking bad if you don't just fully embrace the mistake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the more you do that, like you're saying that she doesn't deserve it, but then, you have all these other stories that you want to say about how she treated the production, how she treated the waitress, and that's not really a reason for you to go off on her like you did. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like he probably feels remorseful about doing it, but I feel like he just doesn't realize that he's so focused on not having a confrontation that he creates sometimes. So
here's the thing that's just staring me right in the face. It's just like, how did you allow that charged up of an encounter to happen on film? Like, how did that happen? Like, and I understand that it does happen, because it's reminding me of like when Portia slapped the shit out of Kenya or did whatever she did, and they had to like hold her down, and she was just like all emotional. It's just like, okay, I get it. I get where you could get emotional to a point where you can say or do something that is not coming of you. Like Will Smith. This is exactly what I had compared it to, because I was like, you can't say that that's not your character because you've done it now. You know what I'm saying? You're no longer a virgin. It's happened. You know what I mean? Now you're the guy who does this. But the real shining, glaring issue is that you somehow allowed this to happen while you were being filmed. So you're definitely gonna need to look at some things in your life if this is the type of thing that happens to you. Like, how did you manage to let that happen? If that's not you, this isn't your persona at all. Somehow someone happened to capture it and has footage of it that they're gonna air. Like, you gotta really think about how you got there. You know what I mean? You are that person. You are that person.
Listen, a lot. Okay, we all do this to a certain extent, like how you act in public, right?
Yeah.
Or, some people don't care and they just do whatever anywhere. But like, there's a specific way you act when you're at work, and there's a specific way you act when you're at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for some people, their image is they've worked really hard to perfect it in their mind of what their image is.
Yeah.
Which means sometimes they've been hiding the ugly parts.
Yeah.
And when you keep something closed in, eventually that's just going to come out. So I could understand how you can be lost in emotion or whatever, but there is a point where you just be like, oh, I know I'm about to just
I gotta let this out. Yep.
And unfortunately, Chris had that moment while they were filming. And like I said, he could have deaded it for this situation if he just was like, I don't know what else you want me to say. I was pissed and I lost it.
Also, just having people there filming things when they're not mentally there to do that, like, I don't know. I know they were on the deadline or the schedule or whatever to get this footage, but
I mean, on top of that, like, the network knows exactly what they be doing. Like, you know, the cast members don't necessarily know who they're sending home when they're getting ready for the date, unless somebody gave them inside information, like somebody texted them, or they might have an idea. But you know, the network picked her to go ahead and send him home. I'm pretty sure that was a part of the feeling too. You know, like, what the heck? So I don't know. I feel like we beat this horse to death. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
So, you know, shout out to Chris for, you know, at least having the conversation.
Absolutely. You know what?
Shout out to Morier for being funny as hell up there.
No, that joke was hilarious.
Shout out to Crystal
XO.
Yeah,
no, that was so dope.
That shit would have been crazy. She don't usually do that though, and so it was kind of chaotic for a minute or whatever. Yeah. But
she doesn't usually do that, and she doesn't have that type of platform where people are coming there to air out their grievances. But it was very well done, and it was exciting. It was exciting. I was happy to see. I like once it had started coming underway. I was like,
oh my god!
I was like, wow, okay, we're doing this. But it was like real. It was respectful. I felt it was respectful. It was honest. It was very entertaining. I mean, I couldn't believe that was 2 hours. That time went right by. I was like, wow, I've been watching this for 2 hours, and I'm not, you know, ready to click off. Like, that was dope. So that was a really good video. But wow.
Okay, so Gwendolyn says it sounds like boundaries are crossed between. She's talking about DJ Envy and Tyrese. It sounds like boundaries are crossed between them. One is an interviewer, and his personal relationship gets mixed up. Yeah, they, you know, I don't know. Y'all know how I feel about DJ Envy. He gets on my nerves sometimes. So I know you was talking about DJ Envy. And Blondie said Chris forgot about his image for sure. She got him to lose his cool. She baited him through the line and reeled him in. And see, that's the thing. There's no proof of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing is, you can't let somebody, because at the end of the day, it is all about how you perceive it and how you take it. If the person hasn't done anything or said anything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, poor thing, man. He just needs to stop trying to explain and justify it. That's what I feel like.
He got away with it. You have no evidence. I believe that's what they call it. Getting away with it. She got away with it, everyone.
But I know. You
understand.
I feel it. Like, I can tell, like, just because
it's like he's not crazy.
No, but the thing is, you can't just come and say, you know, I got in my feelings or whatever. I mean, you could come and say I got in my feelings and I just lost it. But my thing is, he has to take accountability that he let himself get like that.
That's the thing.
Off of something that wasn't deserving of it. And he did acknowledge that she wasn't supposed to be talked to like that he apologized. It's not he. But the thing is, he got to really, really go back and eat that and look and be like, dang, I really, you know, stop.
Here's the thing. So one thing doesn't go with the other, right? Because he's one hand saying like, no one deserves to be talked to like that, but you talk to her like that. So either you don't believe that, like, I'd go for that. I'd much rather him come up in there and say that. Like, I believe that some people deserve to be talked to like that when they cross certain lines. And that's what happened. You just didn't see it, okay? Like, I mean, because be more. I would have respected that more, but he comes on and he says, well, nobody deserves that to be high. I don't know what happened there. I can't exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. If he would have left it there, what can you say to that? But it's when you come back and you try to justify all of these other things. You're saying she doesn't deserve it, but then you're giving us reasons why you think she did, in a sense, because Anyway, all right.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's what it is. It's like, I don't think he believes that. So
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's what I said in the beginning. My thought did not change as far as from what we talked about after last week's show. He needs to stand. He needs to speak up for himself. He's not speaking up for himself. He thinks that he is, but he's not, because he's not really saying what he should be saying. Well, anyway, he apologized though, so that's it.
Yeah, there's no more you can do about it after you apologize. It's like, okay, let everybody move on. And she got away with it. And listen, she got away with it. You got to just take that one on the chin, buddy. Chris is mad about being called a boy, but not a liar. Right. That's interesting. I didn't think about that.
That is interesting, because when Marie jumped on there, the first thing he said was, "What's up, lying ass boy?" And then he was mad about him calling him a boy, but he didn't get like that when he said that he was a liar. So
liar.
I don't know. Like I said, I think that he welcomes the general confrontation. Like, watch me walk up to this person, greet him, "What's up?" But don't look at the rest. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not going to really be talking about anything over here. Like, that's
yeah. He's wilding because the way that he wanted his friendship at the end, or like, we're still cool, right? It's just like, you should be so offended that he called you a liar so many times. I didn't even think about that, but that's a great point. Jessica kept her cool for sure. They basically switched places. Mm-hmm. She was like pimping. I don't know, like PIMP allergy, melagically. Like, she just was like, goodness. she played him. If that's what we're saying here. She got there and she did. He got upset by it and it worked. And the
reason why he's upset is because he cannot prove.
There's no evidence because it's so. That's what we call
what it's like to deal with a woman as a man. Like, I get it. I see exactly what happened here, but I can't help you out, sir. That's not in my bag of tools or whatever. I gotta look the other way on that. Not look the other way, but I just can't explain it. I can't explain it, but I know somebody out there understands what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, and I've been a victim of it too, for sure. Like, in my life, I know exactly what he was trying to say. Once you explained it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Because
I mean, but at the end of the day, you really have to just be like, you know what? I'm not gonna let myself act like that no more, no matter who says what to me. Because I've been there before. I've been there where people used to just piss me off and take me to the, you know what I'm saying, to the point where you just be like, okay, fuck it, it's here. But I had to kind of think of, you know what, do I want to give this person that energy? This person don't deserve that energy. So I don't care what they say, as mad as they get me or whatever, they will never get it. That's what he needs to kind of come to. But in order to do that, he's gonna have to accept that certain things they just piss him off. But he's not gonna say it. So anyway, that was a lot for that.
That was a great show. I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow.
I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow either. But while we're talking about things that they need to fucking change with Ready to Love, Ready to Love is now coming out with a new spinoff called Ready to Love. Was it Make a Move?
Yeah.
Ready to Love, Make a Move. And Zodi is going to be on there. Sharice, I did not call her Sherelle this time. Sharice is going to be on there. Ashley, I think Ashley is from season 1. And then Vern, I think his name is Vernique. She was on the Houston season when they did when they stayed at the resort. So that's going to be interesting because I don't understand how they're going to do it yet. I guess it's in New Orleans. It's 25 bachelors, and they have to come to see if they are going to move to I guess be with the person. They didn't say that, but I guess that's what is insinuated by if they meet somebody. Are they willing? Are they worthy of a move across the country? So, I'm here for the show.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, okay, so I said this in my video too. If people are always saying, well, what's the end game? What's the prize after this? What are they playing for? Now, this is the reason why people will join the show, because if I can get on this show, maybe it'll open the door to something else. And as we can see, voila, here it is. Like, now it all makes sense.
You know what? This is dope. I don't know that there's a that there's a show like this, but it's kind of like Housewives without being housewives. You know what I'm
Well, okay, so they will. I don't know how long they're filming, but they are going to live in the same house, right? Which is going to be a little dramatic because they can date the same dudes, which I don't think that they should do that, but whatever. But I mean, that's kind of how the love experiment is. They live in the same place and they are dating, and the women are driving the dates. And so I feel like they're going to be driving the dates on here. Like they're going to be able to pick who they want to go out on dates with and stuff like that. But I don't know though, because like, why are they going ready to move? Like, why is that the prize? Like, oh yeah, because I wouldn't do that right now if I met somebody. Like, oh, I'm about to go move to wherever because I met this dude. Like, we're not just gonna do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like,
have
I
a
mean, but it's
longer
like
plan.
you wouldn't be a 90-day fiance either.
We would need to have a longer plan of what we're gonna do once I move. I'm not gonna just pick up my household and move to.
So that means that they're only going to be talking to people who are not residing in the cities that they're residing in, because that's the point.
So it's in New Orleans, but I wanted to know. We don't know this yet. Are all the men from New Orleans? Because you know the love experiment, they're from all over the United States. All of the guys are from different places. So I don't know why is New Orleans the place. Well, in one of the in the preview, the lady did say, "Are you?" She asked Dottie, "Are you moving to New Orleans or here to New Orleans?" So I don't know.
Maybe that's a part of the show. Maybe they're just experimenting. Like, hey, move here for a little bit and see if you could date here, if you could be in a relationship here. Like, I think people would be open to that, especially like this looks like I don't know if this is going to be like a new franchise, but it's really interesting because a lot of times the process just repeats itself. So these people are all former cast members, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, this is Elaine. This is Elaine now. Now other cast members can look forward to having lanes like this.
Exactly.
So I think that this is,
and it doesn't have to be
the person in the middle. Who's the person in the middle? She looks like
I think she's the relationship expert that they're gonna have on there. No, matchmaker. They have a matchmaker. I think that might be her. I mean, yeah, this is Elaine. I mean, it was Elaine anyway because Jordan Clifton went to another show. You see how Monique Samuels spent off of hers. You know what I'm saying? So, but now that Ready to Love has absolutely done it, now it's kind of like okay, but I don't know. I'm here for it. I want to see how it's gonna go. And I'm gonna definitely review it. But I'm thinking that it premieres October 13th, so I'm thinking that they gonna have us take a break after this season of Ready to Love to watch this, and then bring back Dallas because they have this coming on Fridays at 8, I believe, too. Unless they're gonna change the date for Ready to Love, so we'll see what happens. But I guess we can take a break from Ready to Love, the original, right now because after this season,
they disappointed me. I think they need to have a few staff meetings and really discuss what went well and what didn't, because I feel like this season was disappointing in so many ways. As far as like, obviously there weren't any connections. So look, I'm not trying to pick nobody apart, but let's just look. Let me just show my real face. Let me show my face here, okay? I think that some thought needs to go into how can we better get more people in a room who can be match, right? Like, I think some of the other shows do it better where we're putting compatible people together. And I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm not a scientist in this field, but it seems like there could be some more resources put towards that, towards making that match happen. Like, okay, let's get some compatible people. Everybody was good looking, but it's like that's not all it takes. And I feel like some people slipped through the cracks. So it should have even been there, like a baby. And even some of the women, it was just like, why is this person here? Like, this isn't even a match, really. Like, why? And definitely, I think a couple of the men, but it's just like they just put together a mixed bag. It doesn't seem like they did a lot in terms of making people compatible. And if they did, we didn't see a lot of the compatibility. There were so many missing storylines. Okay, so that's number 2. So number 1 is compatibility. How can we work that formula out best? Number 2 is we missed so many of the dates this season that we were looking forward to seeing, that it's like, how did you manage to put the things that didn't make any sense into the show? And we're yearning for this information that we have to find out on the back end. It's like, dude, something needs to be done. They need to have some meetings about this. And then it just changes so that we can see the reunion after everyone's seen the show that's attending the reunion. Those are my 3 edits. Other than that, great.
See, so that's what leads me to think that we don't have the same view of the outcome. Like, we as the audience, we're thinking we're gonna watch this show, we're gonna see some connections or whatever, and their job is to keep us watching. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. And they don't have a good track record of having couples, so they could use I agree with your 3 edits. Like, they need to definitely have meetings and go over like an after action report, what worked and what didn't work. But we'll see. But I'm here to check out the Ready to Love, Make a Move. You know,
yeah, I'll watch that. That'll be fun.
It's gonna be fun, especially since we all already know the cast members. Well, you know 2 of them. You don't know the other. I
gotta go back and watch this seasons. Maybe that's what I'll do.
Their seasons both were good too, actually.
Okay, so let me see. When does this show actually come out? Because I don't know that.
I can't remember the year that I started watching it.
Premieres October.
Oh, you talking about the next show? It's October the 13th.
Okay.
Is it?
Yeah, this series premieres October 13th at 8 p.m.
That's Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I have a dentist appointment that day.
Oh gosh.
I was like, oh Lord.
Okay, and Blondie says she might like that show. She thinks the host is a lady. Yeah, they have that's another thing I like about the show. Like, Ready to Love doesn't have any type of like relationship authority in there. Tommy doesn't count. You know what I'm saying? And so I think having a matchmaker or a relationship expert will give another element to the show, because the people that are dating, they'll actually get, you know, feedback on stuff, you know, even if they don't ask. I'm pretty sure the lady's going to be talking to them and asking them questions about the dates that they're going on. So I like that add to it. And I feel like, you know, I feel like it's going to be good. I feel like it's going to be good. We already know Zadia and Charisse are definitely going to bring the spice, and Vern and Ashley are spicy as well. So it should be good. I think it should be good. Shout out to them for that, because I think it would be good. And she said it's 13 episodes. Yeah, it's 13 episodes. I
knew that was the person I was thinking. Listen,
you know what, Blondie, are you talking about this, Faith?
No, so I'm talking about the show. So like this person in the middle, I was like, who's that person in the middle? Because she looked super familiar to me. I don't know if you saw Southern Charm New Orleans. There was a couple on there. Okay, she is part of the couple that I was like, she looks so familiar. She's also a news anchor. She used to be a news anchor. But I was like, she looks just like that girl from that lady Tamika. And so when I scrolled down and read her name, it's her. I was like, that's why she looks so familiar. She was on Southern Charm New Orleans.
Okay.
Her and her husband were on there.
Well, then it makes sense that she's hosting this in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it should be interesting.
I think that's really like that lady. Yeah, it's her.
I think that's going to be a good added element. So Blondie Monique says, do y'all think the new show might replace Ready to Love? I'm asking because there have not been many connections. You know what? I mean, I guess that is a concept, because it still has the name Ready to Love in it. And they do have enough cast members to probably do a few seasons.
Oh, yeah. You get more people who are not connected than are. So, like, yeah.
Right.
Do something.
And then you get the women, and they could probably do it with the men too. And they get a whole batch of new people, and they can have this matchmaker come in and help when, you know, with Ready to Love, shit just be going haywire, and, you know, things aren't understood, communicated, or whatever. So maybe that might be Maybe that might be what's going on, Blondie, but I don't know. Don't they still got a second season of Dallas to show us? So I don't know. But that does make sense. But then you know how they do like these one-off shows and they don't include it in the season count. Like the Running to Love, the Resort, that's not Retreat or the Resort. I don't know. It's not included in the season count sometimes. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, they didn't do the season. They did a season of the show on Netflix we watched, The Ultimatum, that they didn't count because it was a different.
Yeah, so we'll see, because I can see, you know, I want to see how it goes. I think the added person, like the matchmaker or the relationship expert, brings a different element because it's somebody outside of the situation.
And it's like they're going to advance people who have standout personalities or looks. Like I feel like they're going to advance the people who like people were most interested in watching. Because like I'm just looking like Zadia and Charisse, like they had pretty distinct you know, spicy storyline. So I feel like they know the viewership is there. It's just like you have certain seasons and you know the viewership is there for certain people. So like why throw that away? Like let's bring them back.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point. So Ashley and Vernique, we call it Vern. Yes, they also have the viewership as well. So I'm going to tell you really quick about each one of them from what I can remember. So Vern, she was on she wasn't on the New Orleans season. She was on the Houston season, but the person that she really liked was from New Orleans. And I'm not sure she was from Louisiana either, but she really liked this guy named Joel. And so it was a whole thing with that, and they ended up not being together. So, but that was a lot of people followed that. Like we saw their connection, we liked it, you know. And then for Ashley, she was connected with a guy named Alex. I think his name is Mr. Chocolaticity or Chocolicity on Instagram or something like that. But he ended up having a brain tumor after the show. And then she came and gave everybody updates on the reunion and stuff like that. I think it was after that. So her show, she has a viewership too. We liked her. I think she was on the first season. The first season was that, you know, was good. So yeah, she said, Blondie said, yeah, all of these ladies were spiced. All those ladies were spiced. So yeah, I think, and there's a couple of more people who are interesting in the a lot more people that have been on the cast that was enough for them to do this with. So I can't wait to see what happens with it. I'm gonna be here to watch it, and we can talk about it and stuff like that. Ashley was from the first season. She said I liked her, but hated how he did her. Yeah, I can't remember the specifics of what happened between him and her, but I remember this other girl being involved, but they ended up not talking. I can't remember exactly why, but they had a good connection. Like you could see it, you know what I mean? So. But if you do want to catch up on that, definitely watch. Season 1 is a must, as a recommend. You're not gonna be wasting your time on that. And the Resort is a you're not gonna waste your time on that either. Plus, it's gonna be interesting for you to watch the Resort season because you know a couple of those faces now. So
yeah. So I can't wait to watch. But
so yeah,
guys, I can't believe we've been here for 2 hours. It's been so effortless just talking to my sister.
I gotta make this lasagna. I was supposed to make this veggie lasagna. Now I'm thinking that maybe I won't because it's 9:30.
Well, you can still make it. I'm sorry.
No, it's not your fault. I should have made it earlier, but I probably will make it because I mean we gotta eat. So, you know.
Well, that was a fun conversation. I can't wait to see tomorrow's show. Everybody, we'll be back here tomorrow around 9:30. Good night, Blondie. We're gonna be back with the
Good night, Blondie.
Love, and we're going to see what happens from here on out, but I'm excited to see what happens here.
Yes, I'm excited to see what happens here either. Thank you guys for watching us chat all this time. Leave your comments below. Let us know what we missed. Blondie Monique says he didn't want her after he got out of the hospital. Oh, okay, because it was crazy. It was crazy.
Oh, okay. But
you'll
see, I was going to ask if he made it, but I was like, what if he didn't?
He's still on Instagram. But when you watch that season, you will see their connection. But yes, shout out to y'all. Good night, Blondie. Shout out to Mocha Mima. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her channel. I'm gonna put her link in here after we end this live, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. You know what I mean? We'll see y'all tomorrow. That's all I got.
That's all I got too. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.